Welcome, everybody. This is the Rotary eClub of Silicon Valley, and you have joined us for our weekly program for this week's meeting. And we are so excited to be able to share stories with you of all kinds of things related to innovation, entrepreneurship, education, and service generally. So when joining us, you find that you're joining a group of people that are all over the world. We have a lot of people here in Northern California, but we also have people in places like Canada, Wave, token Canadian. All right. He's like, whoa. And then we also have members in other parts of the United States, in Quebec, and then in the Western Cape in South Africa. And Nate, I don't forget you in Tokyo. Got you joining here any moment. So that works as well. Now, one goal we have is to tell the stories of how our members learn about Rotary, how they see Rotary, what kinds of things Rotary means to them. And this week, our speaker is one of our own, our board secretary, Stephen Zhou, and he's going to tell us a little bit about why he joined Rotary, as well as some of the experiences that led him to this point, and everybody who has heard him, every member who has heard him call and say, hey, we got this thing coming up. You get to learn a lot more about this guy on the other side of the phone. So with that, I'm going to hand it over. Stephen, you're on.
All right, thanks, Russian. Thanks, guys, for having me today. But so today, Russian asked me to do a program today emphasizing on why I joined Rotary, and also hoping that it will send a message to encourage many other young adults to be a part of Rotary. So one of the main reasons I joined Rotary was because I found it difficult to find service projects to volunteer while still building my own business in the financial service industry. And that was partly due to me being spoiled while going to Davis because UC Davis because I was part of a community service fraternity, and they made it extremely easy to do service projects. So now that I was out of college and working, I wanted to be part of something that had consistent opportunities to do some volunteer work on my spare time, and at the same time meet new people who were also having fun volunteering. So I think one of the biggest reasons why I joined Rotary is because of Mitty, actually, and it all started when he invited me to attend a Rotary meeting in Fremont about a year and a half ago, I believe. And it was pretty cool, and also focused on serving in service and building a better network, which was also something that I was looking for so that I can develop professionally. And I attended a couple meetings, met up with a few of their hosted events, and then Mitty told me that he was actually in the process of starting an online Rotary club. And then he asked me if I would be interested. I kind of knew how traditional Rotary clubs work just because of my coworkers and stuff, and I knew that there would be a meeting every week at a restaurant location, and I was actually a bit hesitant at first because I was afraid that I couldn't make that kind of commitment to go to an actual location to be part of a meeting every week, especially while trying to build a business of my own. So that being said, Mitty told me a little bit more about how the group would be structured, and I thought it would be a very cool idea where the meeting would be done online. So I gave my commitment and said I was on board because I figured if it was online, it'd be a lot easier to attend. Right? I think the best part that I felt about being part of this brand new Rotary Club was that there were so many experienced Rotarians that have dedicated their time to help start something so out of the ordinary. And I definitely, for one, am for innovative ideas to attract more younger adult members, right? Because a lot of members in there, I heard they used to be from the Southwest eClub, and they ended up coming here to help start it. And all these guys have been around for so many years. Some of them have been in for like second generation Rotarians, and I thought that was a great opportunity for me to meet these guys and kind of do service with them and hopefully build this new eClub that we started. So I feel that this online experience is perfect for attracting the younger audience who is also looking for different ways they can contribute to our society and also meet and network with some really amazing people who are looking to give back. And again, I guess I also think that it's a great opportunity for us younger folks to seek the mentorship of some of the more experienced Rotarians, and I think that alone is worth someone's time to be part of Rotary. I actually didn't really know much about Rotary until Mitty introduced me, so I feel that this is a great way to get more awareness out to the public for young adults, especially utilizing social media. Because it's crazy nowadays. I mean, you go walk around the street, see elementary school kids in their early teens or even 9, 10-year-olds having the newest iPhone nowadays. I, for one, didn't even get an iPhone or any phone until I was 18. So it's a different kind of transition out there nowadays. But ultimately, I think the biggest hesitation to my generation of people for considering Rotary chapter is mainly the commitment issue of having to attend a meeting location every week at a set time, and also the lack of awareness that there's actually something out there like this, right? Because I don't think I was told in college that there was something Rotary outside of the community service fraternity that I was part of, right? So I really learned this through Mitty. So if I hadn't known Mitty, I wouldn't be here today. And again, I personally believe that to me, honestly, it's like if it's important enough for someone, then the person will actually make time for it. So when someone say they're busy, it's kind of just a word we have floating around in our heads that we kind of default to when we have other priorities, right? So that's kind of the hesitation I feel like people have when they think that they have to be at a meeting location every single week. But that being said, I think the online Rotary experience really shuts down that objection because I'm sure anyone can find 30 minutes out of their busy weeks just to even go online, watch a video, and complete the meeting online. So you have a whole week to do that, and I feel like there's really no excuse not to be able to do that. And that's awesome because then you can connect with all these different Rotarians online and have them share ideas every single week. Now, that being said, one of the minor problems that I saw for the online club was the lack of in-person interactions and that you would get from a traditional chapter since they met in person every single week. And that's when I decided to sit down with Midi and Rushton to talk about how we can implement more social and service events consistently for people to show up and meet each other. That way we can develop a better connection because it's always more fun to do service with people you know and enjoy being around. So also, just to clarify real quick, why members are getting a phone call from me whenever there's an event coming up, it is simply because I really want to encourage everyone to come out and meet each other in person and not just be behind the screen. And, you know, everything is definitely much more fun when there's beer and alcohol involved. So come out and I'll give you guys a call. So finally, I guess to really top it off, my 3 reasons why I joined Rotary was mainly because of service developed professionally, because of the nature of my job is I have to build my own practice. So I go out and network all the time, right? So develop professionally is a great part about being in Rotary because you get to meet all these different types of entrepreneurs and kind of pick their brains a little bit to see how they started their practice. And as a young adult, there's always like something I can learn from them. And also being around fun and interesting people. And that's the main reasons why I decided to join.
Very cool stuff. All right, Stephen, awesome. No, I think that one of the things that happens for a lot of people is they get involved in programs in college where what they do is they get into this kind of mode where they're involved in projects and people are getting out and they've got something organized. Mm-hmm. And I think the service fraternity you mentioned, Alpha Phi Omega, is one that, I mean, it's a big organization, right? I mean,
yeah, it's huge.
Like something like 25,000 students, in the United States and Australia and the Philippines as well, I think.
Yeah.
That was an experience I had when I was in college. Through them, I would go and tutor kids downtown in San Antonio, once a week, and I would always kind of get to that point in the week and I'd be like, oh gosh, I'm really busy. I don't know. I'll go. And then I'd always feel as we were coming back, I was like, I'm really glad I went. Really glad I had a chance to work with those kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
So your experience, tell a little bit more about that. So, you get to college and you're like, what's going on? And, how did you get connected to Alpha Phi Omega? And that's where you met Mitty, right?
Exactly. That's where I met Mitty. It's weird because I actually came from a Buddhist high school. My mom kind of sent me there when I was 11 and it was a boarding school. So I've been there for 7 years. Mm-hmm. And it was like super strict. No girls, no video games, no electronics whatsoever. And all we did all day was community service every single day. And then we probably had an hour of free time each day. So for me, I played basketball. So I kind of really got used to doing community service, and I thought it was pretty cool because it was the only way we could leave campus because they would take us to a senior facility home, and then we would kind of assist with the senior kids over there and take care of them as part of the community services that we do around the community. And that was 7 years of that.
Wow. Now now where that's a special high school that you went to?
Yeah, it's actually it's called City of 10,000 Buddhas. It's a Buddhist high school. It's like 455 acres in Ukiah.
Now I have been there.
You have? Yeah, I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I had like one of the best Chinese food meals of my life there. I had this friend in college who was like the first person to graduate from there, or
That's
starting.
awesome.
Yeah. But at any rate, so
I bet that would make a great book.
Oh man.
So when we think about that, and there's all kinds of folks who who in college are having these experiences, and then they get out, right? So when you think about your experiences with Alpha Phi Omega specifically, right? Was it a big organization at UC Davis?
It was huge. Yeah. And also the only reason I joined because coming out of high school, I told the monks and nuns that I grew up with. They were like, don't ever join a frat because it's all about partying and you're going to be distracted from your studies. So as I got into Davis, I promised them I wasn't going to join a frat. So all I did was play basketball and go to class and come home. And then my friends were like, oh, I'm actually going to go check out this community service fraternity. I was like, oh, I can't do that. I made a promise to the monks. But they told me it was more like a club, right, because of the size of the organization. It wasn't like an actual fraternity where, it was like a few people and this was actually a huge organization and they were committed to community service. So I thought, that'll be kind of cool. I'll go check it out. And then they suckered me in, and that's how I joined.
Nice. And
that's when I met Mitty.
Are you still in touch with those folks? I mean, there's a large alumni organization, right?
There is, yeah, but I think Mitty's the main one that I keep in contact with, right? Because he held many board positions in the fraternity, and now I'm just kind of like talking to him because we're part of Rotary now, and I'm dedicated to developing this.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, I think we could utilize the alumni group though, because they're part of service, and it might be a great opportunity to reach out to them to help expand, our online club as well.
Yeah, so. I mean, I would guess that there are just oodles and oodles of folks who would like to be connected for the kinds of reasons you talked about. To really kind of get to know other folks who can kind of mentor you professionally, who can help you get to see kind of new possibilities in the community around you. All of this kind of stuff. And, service organizations are about this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you another question, and then once we've done that, I want to be able to kind of pass along to Shags and Chris.
Sure.
A few more questions they may have as well.
Sounds
but you talk about your experience, with service, through high school and then through college, and then you briefly mentioned that you're kind of developing your own practice as well. But tell the other members what you do, a little bit about who you are professionally. What are you working to accomplish right now?
Oh, okay. So I guess I'll start with what I originally decided I wanted to do. Going to college, I actually decided I wanted to become a CPA, and had a couple internships. I was taking a bunch of accounting classes off campus because Davis didn't offer it, and I realized during busy season it was horrendous. I mean, before April 15th, that was terrible. I didn't want to be crunching numbers all day doing the same mundane thing. And so I decided to seek another career, right? And I was still in college at the time. So when I graduated, I went to career fair. I met with a bunch of different, kind of career, I guess, hiring managers. And then I've met up with this group. It's called Mass Mutual. And then they were actually at a career fair. And then I met this guy named Eric Gross. He's my mentor now and my boss. But during that time, I didn't know what it was about. So they told me it was a financial services professional, right? So they told me a little bit about Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch. I applied to all those companies. And eventually, I decided to choose Mass Mutual because I remember the interview process with Morgan Stanley. They said I couldn't work with anyone under $250,000, and I was like, "Whoa, where am I going to find someone with $250,000? That's ridiculous." So the limitation qualification, I was like, it sounds like they're just chasing after money. So when I interviewed with Mass Mutual, they made it like a mission to really explain to me the culture of the company and how they wanted me to work with the clients to make sure they're taken care of. And as I started working there, I mean, my main objective is to design a financial plan for individuals to help them with whatever financial goals they may have, such as retirement planning, college, and younger professionals. A lot of times I work with, they want to buy a house, so it's just preparing them for that, and that's pretty much what I do.
Very cool. I mean, there's a service component to that as well. So
exactly. Yeah, I feel like the education side is very important because when I meet with a lot of younger professionals, they have no idea what they're doing with their 401ks. They just kind of put money aside and dump it in there, and they don't really have a plan going forward. So I figured
although that's better than not putting money aside.
Exactly, definitely. Well, you get a lot of millennials nowadays who are just kind of living paycheck to paycheck, going out to bars every night, and I feel like that's a very important thing to help them understand that they should at least do something, right?
Yeah. Investing in bars is probably not the best way to go in terms of a long-term financial plan.
Exactly.
That'd just be my guess, but I'm a teetotaler, so there you go. So let's bring in Chris on this one. So we've got our
investing in bars
in the group.
Investing in bars depends on your viewpoint. If you're the bar owner, great investment.
Oh, perfect investment, exactly.
If you're the customer, you'll have a great time with your liquid assets, literally liquid.
You'll burn a hole in your wallet.
Yeah, but what I'm thinking is we want to attract more young professionals like yourself. What can the club do? What do you think we can do better to make that happen?
I remember a while ago, I believe, was it Chris? I think you did a speech on social media. That was you, right? If I remember correctly.
Not sure of the one you're referring to. I did my own classification talk way back when.
It was a long time. It was like one of the very, very first few speeches, and I remember us emphasizing on social media and the power of just getting the information across to people to just have them come check out our websites. And I feel like there's just a lack of knowing that there's something like this out there, right? Everyone thinks there's a traditional Rotary, and there was someone like me who didn't even know what Rotary was back then. So if we can just kind of like help people understand what it is. I mean, I drove around back then in Fremont area. I see like the cog wheel, and I was like, Rotary. I never knew what it was. I was just driving past it. So until Mitty finally reached out to me.
I understand. I went through the same experience. Yeah.
I mean, maybe if there's like a way to show that instead of just say Rotary, we could say Rotary like a service emphasized, organization, and then people will be like, oh, I might come check it out, right? Because all I see on the roads is like just Rotary, that's it, and then I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Well, one of the
more
things
awareness.
that I think is really important is that Rotary learns to tell its stories in new ways, right? So,
Yeah.
one of the things that happened a few years ago is they started putting a little more energy into creating videos that really tell the story,
Yeah,
short videos that tell the story, what's going on in Rotary. That's an easy thing to share.
exactly.
And for our other members, I should, especially if you missed Chris's program from earlier this year, Chris has been a videographer for what, 35, 38 years at this point? I mean, you've got some experience on this front.
Well, you're a little kind since 1972. But
All right, all right.
videographer, no more producer director, but these days you have to become a videographer as well.
Well, when we think about just getting stories out there, if what we're doing is meaningful, right? Because Rotary talks about membership, we need to bring up members. I'm thinking, membership that's not a problem if you've got interesting stories to tell. If you're doing interesting stuff as a club, membership will work itself out, right?
Exactly.
And when I think of the kind of stuff people have experienced, so I see the videos, Chris, you've made. I hear the stories of what people have done, and you think about your experience in Alpha Phi Omega. Let's take it back to that for a minute. How did you guys get word out on campus about what you were doing for service opportunities then?
I think campus is a lot easier because there's so many students walking around on like the busiest area, which is the coho, we called it, is a lunch area, right? And then there's just people handing out flyers all the time. So I think in college-wise, it's completely different. It's a lot easier. But now that we're kind of out here now, it's like, how do we find a way to market it across to people to help them understand that this exists?
But one big difference, though, is that when I was in college in the 80s, or when Chris and Shags were in college, somewhat before that, maybe it was kind of a thing where what we experienced was, like that, what you just described was it, right?
Yeah.
So
also free food. I mean, that was huge.
Well, free food's a good thing, but you guys in your fraternity, so if you had something happening, if there was a service opportunity coming up, what technologies were you using just to get word out to each other? How were you communicating with each other about possibilities?
What do you mean, what do you mean technologies, like internet mostly, or what?
Internet, mobile.
I don't think we really had much of that. I mean, it was a lot of flyers passed around on campus, and then the flyers always had free food. Yeah.
So we have to go with, if it's free, it's for me. Okay.
Because college students are always looking for free food, right?
Okay, so we're no longer gray, male, and stale. We also give you free food.
Exactly. I think for us now it would be like alcohol, right? I mean, for the millennials. No, but I think for us, I guess we can emphasize on developing professionally. I mean, a lot of millennials are seeking that as a reason to be part of anything, right? Develop professionally, build a network. You know the saying, it's all about who you know. Well, if they're interested in service, and this would be a great opportunity for them to get to know people who have the same like-minded, to give back.
Absolutely. The opportunity to really talk to people about their businesses when you're in a context when you can really trust them.
Exactly.
Where you've gotten to know them because you've worked on things together, whether it was the school supplies drive that we did a few weeks ago, or helping launch the Justin's House program for teens battling addiction, earlier this year. We do this, when you have those kinds of experiences with other people, you develop the kind of rapport that allows you to ask a lot of good questions.
Exactly, and you can obviously tell if they're there because they want to, not because they have to, right? And that's the part you can kind of gauge out eventually over time when you work with these people over these kind of different projects.
Absolutely. Now, thinking about technologies and an online club, you talk about kind of the basic piece of, there's the flexibility of being in an online club. That helps a lot of people out. I'm another person that would have left Rotary if it weren't for the flexibility of online clubs. But I think that we have some opportunities now to say, okay, well, we've got this group of people. We want to get word out to them quickly. Are there mobile technologies that you're thinking, we could probably take advantage of that, whether it's a texting system or a newer app or something like that.
Yeah, so I was thinking just having people who like a group text, right? Or like there's this app called GroupMe, and then people can join it, and then we can have a group text to go out to everyone saying like, oh, there's a service coming up. I mean, unless people are tired of having me call them, it would be a very easy way for me to just send out a text saying, oh, this is an event coming up, and then anyone who's in just quickly respond, or send me a text individually so you don't blow up the group text. Right? Because nobody wants to get spammed.
No. But I'll tell you this though. I mean, everybody I have talked to about the calls, I mean, has been very favorable about it. I mean, you get this
that
kind
makes
of
me feel really good. Thank you.
Oh yeah. I mean, Stephen has this this kind of rep in the club for being the guy who calls, right?
I appreciate it. I don't want to annoy anyone,
You're the most human member of the club, or something like that, right? Now, when you think about other things that we do as a club right now, I mean, here's something I'd like to get Shags and Chris in on as well. Stephen and I were talking a little bit before the meeting about some of the different components of how we're doing our Rotary experience. And one of the things we do is we launch the program on Monday, and it goes through the week ending Sunday night. Now, half the club does its meeting on Sunday, right? And either that's because Sunday's a good day, or because it's the last day and it's about time to get to it, or something like that, right? They get the email from me that's like, still time, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, all of you guys, is there a day of the week that would if you think about it differently, like what if the meeting started on Friday, so the weekend actually kind of happens at the front end of the week of the meeting, or what if the week started on Sunday, so that conceivably you could do a meeting on Saturday and then the next week's meeting on Sunday, and in one weekend you've got like 2 weeks worth of meetings in. What do you guys think of this stuff?
I don't think it'll work. I really don't think it'll work, because people are used to Monday to Saturday or Monday to Friday work days. Mm-hmm. And the second you get into something different, you now cause confusion. The confusion means people don't attend and they stay confused. Yeah. I don't think it would work. That's a personal opinion. Now that's based on an old white guy, gray, male, and stale here. Okay.
Male, pale, and stale.
Male, pale, and stale. That's right. Okay. I'm saying this because my life was built around Monday to Friday. Okay. I don't know many people who work for a living who don't have a Monday to Friday type schedule. I understand Sunday because, number one, it's a down day for most people. Number two, it's a good time to do your catch-up. Because during the week, if you're busy as a professional, the last thing you're thinking about is checking into your Rotary meeting. You've got your other priorities. Now the weekend comes, you say, oh yeah, right. But if you put a new meeting up, say on a Saturday or a Sunday, I don't know. I think you get a lot of people that just might miss it. Might oh darn, I missed this one because it changed. I wanted to do last week's on Sunday, now I can't, yada yada. So personal opinion, I don't think it would work.
Thanks, how about you?
I told you a while back, I go usually Friday, Saturday, occasionally Sunday, but more Friday, Saturday, because I got used to that at Rex Swooza. I was monitoring the comments and writing them up, and I always like to visit at the end of the week. So, again, it's really just personal preference.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, I like to having it up Monday through Sunday because that gives you the 7 days to, depending on schedule. I've had weeks where, oh God, last second because I've been so busy. Other weeks where it didn't matter what day it was. So I think everyone gets in that position at some point. So I say leaving it up Monday to Sunday is fine. Not starting it on Friday. It's too much confusion, or a Thursday or a Tuesday or whatever.
I agree with that, yeah.
Well, one of the things that our guests might be surprised by is that, or maybe not, our attendance stays very, very high, right? Like, so in the last 2 months, we've been, above 90% almost every week, and the 2 weeks we haven't, we were in the high 80s, right? And twice we've had 100% attendance, but that's partly due to the flexibility, right? So,
exactly.
In both of the cases where we had 100% attendance, it was also 100% attendance because somebody, did the makeup afterwards. And for someone again who's visiting the club, you can't just do a makeup by catching our meeting a week late, because even though technically you can do it, the experience is that if people think they can wait, then suddenly they get way behind, right? Because it's just kind of not on the radar. So for those who aren't familiar with our pattern, when you log in and do your meeting between Monday and Sunday, that's a normal attendance. If you miss doing that, then we say, okay, go to another Rotary club. go to another eClub or go to a traditional club and make up that way. And we got folks who are getting into a pretty good pattern of when they somehow forget or whatever, they go, oh, okay, and so they go in and they'll do another club, and that's also, I think, a good opportunity for people to get to know, kind of Rotary in a broader sense as well. Now, Stephen, as we wind things down, because I think we're about at the tail end of this. I'm going to give you the last word, of course, but so you can be thinking about, that kind of profound moment that you got to share. But for everybody, we love having you come and join us. This was a bit more informal meeting, and that's kind of cool because you get that chance to, get to see the personalities of four of us, maybe all the more so. But we love having our members and guests leave their comments. Always leave a comment at the end of the meeting, right? Because that gives us the chance to kind of know who we are, who these different folks are, what they're thinking, how they see the world, all the little bits and pieces. So after you finish this recording, scroll down a bit. You'll see the I attended survey. That one's very important. It lets us know that you were here. And if you are a Rotarian guest, filling that out will allow you to get an email that you can pass along to your club secretary so you can have this as a makeup. And then after that's the discuss system, DISQUS, discuss. And so in that system, you can read what other people have written, their ideas about the meeting and the program. And then you can respond. You can reply to the general prompt, just anything you think about the meeting. You can also reply to individual comments if you'd like. And so we love that there's that opportunity to really get to know each other. So thank you very much for joining us, and I will give the last word to Stephen.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to me. Hope I didn't bore you guys. But again, I guess the main reason why I did this today was because I really wanted to show everyone that one of the reasons why I joined is because, I guess I'm a younger member too. So as a result of that, it's been very beneficial to me to meet all these people. It's been a great experience. So develop professionally, service, and being around fun and interesting people. And that's pretty much all I really have to say.
Perfect. Speaking of technologies.
Oh man.
Members and guests, join us again next week for our our next program. We have lots of good stuff happening every week, and we're very happy to have had you here. Have a wonderful week and go out and make a little difference in the world and improve your community. Thanks again.